Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 2nd of April. The first news is Center introduced Antarctica Bill in Lok Sabha. Second, GST collection that has hit a new high in March. Third, India-Russia trying to bypass the sanctions. Now, amid the Russia decision to invade Ukraine, some sanction has been imposed by the United States. Second last, boost for India-Nepal bilateral ties. The last is an editorial, that is BIMSTEC after the Colombosummit. So something very important insights coming from this editorial. We'll see this in detail. Apart from this, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based question. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And before I start, just to tell you about our new app, this is 2.0, which will give you a more facilities like daily MCQs, video blogs, A to Z study material that you can download. For more details, you can refer to the description section of this video. We have provided a dedicated link to download this app. Now, starting with the session of the day, that is Center introduced Antarctica Bill in Lok Sabha. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, that is Government Policies and Intervention for the Development of Various Sectors and Issues Arising from its Design and Implementations. So recently, the Union government has introduced Antarctica Bill 2022, and this was introduced in the Lok Sabha. What is the purpose of this bill? Why this was being tabled in the parliament? So the bill seeks to regulate the human activities in the continent, that is in the Antarctica region, or जो उसके pristine environment है in accordance to the international treaty. So the government of India wanted this particular region to be aligned with all international treaty norm that is guiding this region. India is also signatory to Antarctica Treaty, the Convention on Conservation of Antarctica Marine Life Resources, and the Protocol Environment Protection. Something again important, we'll see the detail about this as well. Now, key feature of the bill that is essentially important for your prelims and mains examination. A direct question can be expected from this particular section. So what are the key features? सबसे पहले अगर बात करें, the bill proposed and aimed to provide an harmonious policy framework जहाँ पे अंटार्कटिका जो region है उस पे एक full-fledged proper legal mechanism बनाई जाएगी that how the entire extractions process, anything related to that region would be giving a roadmap. Now, this law will enable the court to deal with the dispute if it is coming or arising from that particular region in the part of Antarctica, and it will help to build a credible vis-a-vis India's participations, right? India's participation in this region is pivotal, and India is definitely looking forward for some conclusive action. This bill, which has come after a 40 years late, although this was supposed to be there, but अभी 40 years के बाद ये bill table की गई है. So now India is expecting something conclusive coming out of it. The bill will facilitate the new Antarctica program, including the management of tourism in Antarctica, sustainable development of the fisheries. These are some of the things that India would definitely facilitate if the bill is passed, and India's endeavor is to promote more tourism in this area and also call for a sustainable development of fisheries. Now, the bill also given effect to Antarctica Treaty, the Convention on the Conservation of Antarctica Marine Living Resources, and the Protocol on Environmental Protection in Antarctica Treaty. So something again that is important in this context would be to know about what is Protocol on Environmental Protection on Antarctica Treaty. इसके बारे में भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. That is something again going to be relevant for your prelims examination. So the Protocol on Environment Protections on the Antarctica Treaty, each to the party take appropriate measure within the competence, including the adaptations of law की बात हो, regulations, administrative actions, enforcement measure, and also to ensure the compliance of this protocol, right? So this law itself call for more regulation in terms of environment protection and specifically to the region of Antarctica. So इस binding के बाद और भी जो member countries and even for India, they would be obliged to do so. नाउ इंडियाज रिसर्च स्टेशंस की अगर बात करें, अंटार्कटिका में इंडिया के कौन कौन से रिसर्च स्टेशंस हैं. सो इंडिया मेंटेन टू इंपॉर्टेंट रिसर्च स्टेशंस. कौन कौन से हैं? द फर्स्ट इज मैत्री, विच वाज एक्चुअली established in 1989, और उसके बाद भारती. These are the two station which is there at Lisselman Hill. So this name location is again something going to be important for many other factual competitive examinations, right? And India has launched 41 scientific expeditions year after year, right? For so far we have reached almost 41 scientific expeditions. And India is among the elite group of the countries with multiple research in the polar region. So I'll show you an image how this Maitri research station look like. You can see these images which is there in the Antarctica region, and the construction work, these place which is being jurisdiction of India as a candidate. Now, what is Antarctica? Something basics about Antarctica that you must know. Antarctica is a geographical area with 14 million square kilometer and had no indigenous population in the region, right? 1959 में 12 ऐसे countries थी जिन्होंने अंटार्कटिका ट्रीटी को साइन किया. That treaty, which is also known as Antarctica Treaty, was signed by Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, USSR, and UK, right? USSR की अगर मैं बात करूँ, this is a time when Ukraine was also the part of Russia. Now, the aim of this was to prevent the continent from being marginalized, to establish a center for peaceful activities. This was the main aim behind the establishment. And even later, बहुत सारे countries थे जिन्होंने इसको adopt किया इस treaty को. That India was also among the member countries, right? So India has become the part of the treaty, and more than 54 members had joined the Antarctica Treaty. Now, moving ahead with the news, that is GST collection hit a new high in March, something very significant for a country like India, which has already been gripped with the pandemic for none less than 18 months, right? So this particular news is important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Indian Economy and Issues Related to Planning, Mobilization, Resource Growth and Development. So according to the Ministry of Finance, they have the latest data with regards to the GST collections. और GST collection के मुताबिक इस बार की जो GST collection हुई है, that is all time high, and this amount to 1.42 lakh crore rupees that Indian economy has collected. So the GST collection for March had witnessed a surge of around 6.8%. This is a number, this is a surge that we have seen, and compared to the previous month, that is for the month of February, right? And the finance minister or the finance ministry has said that this is a record receipt that Indian economy has received, and this is an indicator that the economy is recovering faster. Although post pandemic की term अभी use की जा सकती है, because India has not seen pandemic for past कोई इस तरह से surge या फिर कोई इस तरह की escalations नहीं हुई है cases में, कोई ऐसी waves नहीं आई है. So we are on the path of recovery. In that light, you can say that this is something which is very important, a post recovery figure which is a good number. Now total GST collection की अगर bifurcation देखें, the actual amount was 1.42 lakh crore rupees. इसकी अगर bifurcation आप देखोगे, so this is how it goes. For central GST, this was 25,830 crore rupees. State GST is 32,378 crore rupees. Integrated GST is 74,470, और जो compensatory cess है, right, that is 9,417 crore. So this is something again important for your prelims. They can ask you which among this has the highest contributor in the GST. So the correct answer would be integrated GST. This is an infograph that will give an idea how these things work in Indian economy. So you can see this data. This is a complete data that give you the figure for the March. It's the highest, which we can see is around 1.42. And these infograph, which will give you an idea about that state collection for March, the collection were 50% higher than the last fiscal. Average अगर बात करें monthly collection की, that is 1.3 lakh crore rupees. And Maharashtra has recorded the highest tax collection with an amount of 20,305 crore rupees. And expert predict कि जो April की collection होगी, that is also going to be on a higher side, right? What means high? High means collection suggests that economy is getting a recovery, and even railway freight and rail highs in the March are the further evidence. Petrol, diesel और जो इसकी price है, ये एक ऐसी price है which is again something not anticipated amid the war crisis that is ongoing in Ukraine. उसकी वजह से थोड़ी फ्लक्चुएशन देखी जा सकती है. इवन द स्टेबिलिटी इज एक्सपेक्टेड इन द कमिंग ईयर, कमिंग बेसिकली अब मंथ्स में बोल सकते हैं, कमिंग डेज में भी पॉसिबल. Now, data on EWay bills, how much EWay bill was actually generated. The total number of EWay bill that is generated for the month of February was around 6.9 crore as compared to the EWay that was generated for the January was 6.88 crore despite a short-term month, right? So this is an indication that a business is on a faster pace and the economy is on the recovery pace. States collection की अगर बात करें, what is a trend that state is witnessing, how much collection of taxes is coming from the state और उनमें क्या क्या सर्च देखी गई है. So although revenue from the domestic transition and import services grew by 11% from March 2021, and this trend is mixed among all the states. If you talk about the revenue that was generated for the state like Odisha, this rose up to 26% in Odisha, Maharashtra में 19%, Haryana में 17%, and in Gujarat this is 12%. And the state like West Bengal, it has seen just 2% rise, and the other state like Uttar Pradesh has just seen a rise of 6%. Now looking to the other part of the South Indian states, so among southern states, Andhra Pradesh has the revenue increased by 18%, this is good number, followed by 14% with Kerala, 11% in Karnataka, and just 6% in Tamil Nadu. If you talk about Telangana collection, it has marginally increased by 2%. So these are the chronology of the state collection in the southern Indian states. Now moving to the other news of the day, that is India, Russia trying to bypass sanction. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So this news is important because recently we have seen the Deputy NSA of United States has visited India. Dilip Singh was a man, and he has reiterated USA commitment towards not increasing our trade with Russia, right? Although ये कल की बात थी, अभी recent में जो रशिया के foreign minister है, Mr. that is Sergei Lavrov, he has visited India, and Lavrov has said that two countries, that is India and Russia, would increase the use of non-Western currency to promote trade with India, right? Despite the fact that it has already been said that अगर किसी तरह से इंडिया circumvent करती है sanctions को, तो United States के साथ उसकी bilateral relationship खराब हो सकती है. So this is something a dilemma, a catch-22 situation for a country like India, because it has already been argued that the move between India and Russia is significant as US warned that there could be a consequences to circumvent the sanction that was imposed by the United States. So these are the concerns, but although India and Russia is looking forward for non-Western currencies for trade and establishments. So India की क्या stance है? India has told Russia that जो टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रिटी है उसको मेंटेन करने की जरूरत है, एंड बोथ कंट्री शुड रिस्पेक्ट देयर टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रिटी. दिस इज व्हाट India has to say. So these are basically a diplomatic words which every country tend to say that, right? तो आप इसको एक diplomatic stunt कह सकते हैं, आप diplomatic gestures कह सकते हो. And they called for a alternative payment which would be going on the national currencies on the way to bypass the international sanctions. Although India has maintained a neutral stances in terms of Russia और यूक्रेन, इंडिया ने वोटिंग से भी एब्सटेन की थी. यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल की वोटिंग थी, उससे भी स्टैंड किया, बिकॉज जो ह्यूमैनिटेरियन क्राइसिस को लेकर के जो वोटिंग हुई है उसमें इंडिया ने एब्सटेन की थी, विच इज अगेन shows that India is somewhere supporting Russia. And India and China are the only two major countries that has not condemned Russia call and which Russia called for a special majority operation. एक स्पेशल मिलिट्री ऑपरेशन जिसको रशिया कहती है, उससे बेसिकली जो चाइना है और इंडिया इत्तेफाक रखता है कि हाँ एक ये मिलिट्री ऑपरेशन है. Now talking about India's dependence on Russia, you can see that Indian Air Force dependence on Russia. We have 272 Sukhoi MKI that has been ordered, about 6 squadron of MiG-21, 3 squadron of MiG-29, 3 airborne early warning system that we're ordering from Russia, nearly 200 Mi-17 choppers, 14 IL-17 strategic lifts, 2 squadron of MiG-27 and 6 IL-78 tankers. So these are the dependency of India in Russia. The reason being India is always inclined towards Russia's favor. और यूएस की तरफ से अगर बात करें, यूएस की जो जेस्चर्स हैं वो मिक्स्ड है. इट्स नॉट फेवरली टुवर्ड्स कंप्लीटली टुवर्ड्स इंडिया, बट इट इज़ अ मिक्स. तो रशिया एक ऐसी पार्टनर कंट्री है जो कि हमेशा इंडिया को सपोर्ट किया, एंड इंडिया इज लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड at this juncture that they're standing with the Russia only. And the other dependence, you can see this two infograph that will give a clear idea. अभी recent में Akula class nuclear submarine power track marines जो हैं वो pipeline पे है. Other thing that is in pipeline is AK-203, 4 Kharkiv class frigates, 21 motor vehicle airflames, कामोव हेलीकॉप्टर जो लाइट यूटिलिटी हेलीकॉप्टर्स है उस पर ऑर्डर्स होनी है, एडिशनल सुकोई एयरक्राफ्ट, एंड अगेन अदर हेलीकॉप्टर्स ऑफ 10 Kamov Ka-31 variety. So these are some of the basically pipeline decision that is coming with regards to India and Russia's bilateral relationship. Now, looking into the other fact, in 1963, when Indian Air Force was inducted with MiG-21, this was provided by Russia, and Russia's military scale has crossed up to $70 billion. And 70% of India military hardware and software is dependent on the Soviet Union of Russia's, right? So you can pause this infograph, you can read out the entire content. Some of the factual content I have already discussed. For more details, you can take the screenshot of it so that you can revise at the end of this video. Now, boost for India's Nepal bilateral ties. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 2, that is India and its neighborhood relations. So Nepal PM is on a 3-day visit to India, and this is the first visit of the Prime Minister, which after his first visit after he became the Prime Minister of Nepal, right? Although Nepal has been condemning with regard to the map and territorial integrity. Now, something important issues is going to be discussed between India and Nepal. Now, strengthening ties is something again very important. The leader from both India and Nepal has discussed strengthening the bilateral ties, including the exchange on delegations, right? And they have proposed the exchange on delegation for the youth leaders, women leaders from the both sides. So both India and Nepal would be working towards promoting more youth leader for their country's representations. Now, the PM of Nepal has thanked India for evacuation process, which India has recently did from Ukraine. वहाँ पे जो कुछ Nepalese citizen थे, उनको भी इंडिया ने सपोर्ट की war hit यूक्रेन से इंडिया लाने के लिए. So these are some positive gestures coming directly from India. And Nepal is keen on completing long-term pending work, which include Pancheshwar multi-purpose temple. So these are some of the important area of interest that both countries has looked upon in terms of a bilateral relationship. Now, looking into the other aspects, that is India-Nepal sectoral of economic cooperation. So India is a Nepal largest trading partner. These are some of the facts that you must know. The second is import to India are polyester, yarn, textile, jute, goods, thread, zinc seeds, and the packed cardamom, GI pipes. These are some of the things that is being imported to India, right? And export from India include petroleum product, motor vehicles, spare parts, machineries, medicines are there, some cements, thread, and chemical that is being exported from India. Now, looking to the other map, this is a map that will give you an idea that how the river project, or basically you can say the highway project, is also working. So this is for all the areas Raxol to Pitpragoti, and again some of the like Jasobani and Futsutganj. So these are some of the area, 4-lane area that Government of India in collaborations with Nepal government is working to develop an infrastructure, which would be a 2-lane highway that would be paving way for infrastructure development in the region. Now, talking about the India's and Nepal trade relationship, that Nepal establishes both with India as well as with China. तो जो नेपाल की डिपेंडेंस है वो थोड़ी चाइना की तरफ भी है, बिकॉज इंडिया ने जब जिस तरह से एक वैक्यूम क्रिएट की है उस वैक्यूम को चाइना ने फिल किया है वहाँ पे नेपाल. So this is for like import from Russia, which is import from India basically. This is $5.85 million. And if you talk about export to India, this is $396.5 million. वहीं अगर नेपाल और चाइना की बात करें, import from China is $1.24 billion and export to China is $18.1 billion. So you can see this data, and some of the most important item, the export commodities to India include cardamom, jute goods, textile, polyester, and juices. And from China, they mostly export handicraft, They mostly export handicraft, carpets, tanned skin, pashmina, and human hair. So these are some of the areas of interest and the data that you must know in terms of India's and China relationship with Nepal. Now, issue of Madheshi population, which is a long pending. So the Nepal government has said that they would carry out the constitutional amendment to increase the representation of Madheshi, and the government has prioritized to look forward with the resolutions, right? And even there are several issues like Madhesi prisoner that is yet to be addressed by the Nepal government. Now, moving to the editorial part of the day, that is the BIMSTEC after Colombo Summit. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. This particular editorial is written by Rajiv Bhatia. Rajiv Bhatia is a distinguished fellow at the Gateway House and former ambassador to Myanmar. So we'll try to understand this editorial in a simple way by segregating this editorial into 7 important subheads. So first include the big questions, second the Colombo package, sector for corporations, master plan for transport connectivity, support for trade pillars, the personalized text, and the way forward. And the entire editorial focuses upon the roadmap for the BIMSTEC future. Now, moving ahead, that is the 5th summit of the regional grouping, that is the BIMSTEC meeting was recently held. BIMSTEC stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Corporations. ये virtual mode पे अभी recently Colombo में organize की गई. Colombo was hosting actually. The summit has advanced the issues of regional cooperation and integrity for all the member countries. ना कुछ बड़े सवालों पे इस पे बात होनी चाहिए. रिटर्न में इस एडिटोरियल में जो चीज़ों को हाईलाइट की गई है दैट आई विल आल्सो डिस्कसिंग. So the first big question is BIMSTEC is no longer mere a initiative or a program, right? The big question is to address whether it is now capable of tackling the challenges that is faced in the region, specifically in the Bay of Bengal region. And this particular grouping is like world 5th populist grouping. And this region, this particular grouping also contribute 4% to the global GDP. So these are the factual data that you must know and you can note it down also. And it called for a multilateral grouping that can trigger economic development. This is a big question today, whether it has a potential to pitch for such accelerated economic development or not. This is basically a question that is arising. The member states for the BIMSTEC include Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Thailand. For more detail about BIMSTEC, I have already discussed that. If you want, you can watch that video or you can directly visit to the homepage of the BIMSTEC to read more about the BIMSTEC, basically history and its function. Now we'll be more concerning into the editorial. So the other part is Colombo package that has been discussed in this editorial. So 5th summit की बात की गई है, which has actually adopted a new charter which call for expanding the overall cooperation with the member countries. Now, according to the expert, this was a compromised package. I'm talking about the charter. How it was a compromised package? Because this was formally adopted as a BIMSTEC is an intergovernmental organization and a legal personality. This is what the charter called for. So BIMSTEC ने 11 items को list किया है first article, right? Among them, the first call for the acceleration of economical growth and social progress in the Bay of Bengal region and promotion of multi-dimensional connectivity as a core idea of the BIMSTEC. Now the grouping can now view itself and not as a sub-regional organization but as a regional organization, right? Whose density is linked towards the area around the Bay of Bengal. So these are the changes that has been the part of BIMSTEC under the new charter. And these is again something which is important for your mains as well, right? Now, sector of corporations की अगर बात करें, so the summit has reconstituted and reduced the number of sector corporations from widely that is 14 to 7. पहले जो 7 number of areas थे corporation के that has been reduced to 7 only. और हर एक स्टेट, हर एक मेंबर स्टेट जो है उसके लिए कोई स्पेसिफिक लीड सेक्टर्स बनाई गई है, that would be the part of it. So the first include trade, investment and development, which is a part of Bangladesh. Second, environment and climate, which is coming with the Bhutan. Security including energy की बात करें तो ये सारी जिम्मेवारी जो है वो इंडिया को दी गई है. Agriculture, food security with the part of Myanmar. People to people contact, the part of Nepal. Science and technology and innovation, Sri Lanka. and connectivity sector which goes to Thailand. So this is again something important. आपको इंडिया के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. इंडिया सिक्योरिटी और एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी को कवर कर रहा है. Now, master plan for transport community is again something very important. So the summit participates has adopted the master plan for transport connectivity for which is applicable for 2018 to 2028. So for 10 years, this would be applicable retrospectively, right? And it was devised as a this is basically backed by Asian Development Bank also. It lists around 264 projects and total investment value is $126 billion, right? So the project worth around 55 billion is under the implementations. Now finally, अगर packages की अगर बात करें, so this packages also include three important agreements. What are the three important agreements? The first is with regards to mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, cooperations between the diplomatic and academic, and the third is the establishment of new technology facility at Colombo. Now, support for trade pillar की बात की गई है, and this trade pillar is something important for economic investment and cooperation, which will call for strengthening the faster pace for member country as well. Now, despite the framework, a comprehensive free trade agreement की बात की गई है, which was actually started in 2004, and BIMSTEC stand away from the school. And over the 7 constituent जो agreement हुई है, there's a need for FTA and only 2 are in place now. So on FTA, on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, the member countries and even the overall initiative for the BIMSTEC is on a slower pace. Now the personalized touch की बात की गई है, how this personalized touch is important. I'll be dealing this personalized touch in 3 important topics, subheads basically. So the decision taken by the Colombo is to host the summit in 2 years is a welcome and this should be implemented. Charter ने decide किया कि हर 2 साल पे अब meeting होगी. But बेसिकली यहाँ पे सजेशंस ये आई है कि इसको वापस से एनुअल सबमिट करने की जरूरत है. दिस शुड बी एन एनुअल सबमिट एंड नॉट अ बाई. बेसिकली 2 ईयर सबमिट से अच्छा है कि इसे हर साल एनकोराइज किया जाए. दैट विल कॉल फॉर अ मोर ग्रीवांस एड्रेशन फॉर द मेंबर कंट्रीज एज वेल. The other is BIMSTEC needs greater visibility in terms of basically अगर बात करें इंडिया की, इंडिया G20 के summit में इंडिया host करने वाला है, and this summit is going to be, India is going to be the member and part of the G20 summit in 2023, which will definitely present a golden opportunity to leverage this optimally, जहाँ पे BIMSTEC को एक new visions की भी तरह दिखा जा सकता है, where India would be chairing the G20 meeting. And final suggestions would be to have a grouping needs urgent attentions. How this attention would be go? Because अभी BIMSTEC का पूरा जो spelling जो words देखें 12 words पे इसको change करके कहा गया है कि 4 word की होनी चाहिए and it should be named as Bay of Bengal community because it is mostly concerning the Bay of Bengal region and this would be institutionally immensely important for the BIMSTEC which would be renamed as Bay of Bengal community. So these are the suggestions still not incorporated. So let's see whether this decision would be taken because these are the recommendations coming from the experts. Now, what are the way forwards that you can write in examination, specifically for writing in mains paper? So the need of the hour for the BIMSTEC need to strengthen itself by redefining its purpose, regenerating its organ and institutions. Now, BIMSTEC need to generate an additional fund that can push timely implementation of the project. So these are the things that BIMSTEC need to take it very seriously, very cautiously, so that the regional stability and the core essence, the core motto of the BIMSTEC should be at the fullest and implemented to ensure all member countries are equally benefited from this. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question also, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, scientists recently seen in news is related to what? That is the GI enabled tracking system, social security scheme for differently abled, instant messaging app of Government of India, or a new fertilizer developed by ICA. So some basic questions that you must know. If you don't know, check out for the correct options. Second question of the day, that is security appellate tribunal. आपको बताना है इसमें से कौन-कौन statement correct है. SAT is a statutory body established under the provision of SEBI Act 1992 and the presiding officer of SAT shall be appointed by the President of India. So if you know the correct answer, it is well and good. If not, you can change the detail about the security appellate tribunal. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.